What up, YouTube? Okay. Once again, I applaud those who stood up for the whole 49% thing, but, let's just not stop there. So I came across another stat that said 19% of black men are unemployed and 13% of black women are unemployed. Now, people will say, oh, see what's going on? We need more jobs for black people, or we're not being hired. Racism, this, that, and the third. I'm not going to say all that, to be real with you. I'm not trying to say that that's not going on. Okay, I'm not trying to act as if skin color isn't a factor, but I'm going to be completely real with you. Out of that 19% and 13%, okay, how many are not even in the labor force? Let's be real here. Do y'all even know the difference? See, people who are unemployed are people who have some sort of skill and they just can't find work. Okay? So it's about the carpenter who can, I can build you a home. I can do high-rise construction. I just can't find a job. Those are the people who go under the whole unemployed pool. That's why when you turn on CNN and some other, news story and they're talking about unemployment in America, they tend to, show the white guy. Okay, the blue-collar white guy. Look, I have all these skills. I just can't find a job. I was a truck driver, or I work for this company, or I did this. I was a plumber, and I just can't find any jobs. I can work hard. Give me the opportunity. Okay, but you don't necessarily get that when it comes to black people. Why? Because we're not really in the labor force, so it's not the same impact. To be real with you, it doesn't have the same impact. Doing a story on the black guy, with the tattoos and who's just down and out about, how Tyrone doesn't work, doesn't have the same impact of, Brian, who has his tool belt on and his overalls on, and he can't find a job. Not the same. Okay? A lot of black people are not even in the labor force. They have no sort of marketable skill. So even if somebody said, voila, we have a whole bunch of new jobs. There's the campaign to, rebuild the infrastructure of America. So different states are getting money to work on the infrastructure, building their streets, working on their sewers, fixing bridges, fixing the roads. It's that whole, I forgot the name of the project, but it's almost like what happened during the Great Depression, and you had, the whole bunch of all the dams that were built and all these other public works projects that put people back to work. Okay, so that's going on, but how many black people can actually take advantage of that? Okay, how many? Not too many. Why? Because they have no skill. There's a scene in the movie Defiance. It came out recently, and it starred the white guy who's the new James Bond, in Casino Royale, and I forgot the other movie that he just did, but he's in the movie Defiance, and it's about these Jews who are hiding from the Nazis, and they form this colony, okay, and they live in the woods and they roam around, trying not to be seen. But if you can find them, you escape from somewhere, they'll take you in, right? And I guess it's based off of a true story, and they actually survived the whole genocide by the whole Holocaust. They survived by sticking together. They formed a big ass colony. I believe it was like over 2,000 people, and they just lived in the woods and did what they had to do. And there's a scene, okay, where they're starting to grow the colony, and they had two guys that would check in new people, and the new people had to say what they did, right? So they can be given a job. Everybody had to work. So when they found the colony, they would ask them, what did you do before? I was a blacksmith. Ma'am, what did you do? I was a nurse. What did you do? I was a maid. What did you do? I was a blacksmith. So they got jobs that needed to be done in the colony. Mind you, they had to build their own homes. They had to hunt. People got sick. This, that, and the third. Okay, people needed clothing and people grew, there was children. So you had to have some sort of skill. Okay? But when it comes to black people, how many of us have a skill? A marketable skill. So that if somebody put a microphone and said, microphone in your face and said, yo man, you can't find work. That sucks. What do? Man, I'm a blacksmith. Or I'm a mechanic. Or, I do this, that, and the third, but I can't find work. You don't get that. Like I said, it's, Keith from the block with the tattoos and, the dreads and all sorts of piercings, like the Lil Wayne guy. That is the image that we get when we talk about black unemployment. That's why nobody really gives a fuck. I'm going to be real with you, right? Whenever we talk about black unemployment in terms of black men, it usually is dealing with educated black men who have went to school. But as far as the other men, unfortunately, no one gives a fuck because a lot of y'all are unemployable. You're not in the labor force. You're not. You have no marketable skill. And for me, it's not to say step your game up. That's a little bit unfair because a lot of these blue-collar type of jobs, it's the whole apprenticeship type setup where, the uncle will teach his nephew, or the father will teach the son, or the father will teach his daughter's husband, or his sister's husband. Keep it in the family. Okay, there's a show that my mom and my little sister love. It's called Cake Boss. I think it's on Food Network or some show, TLC, and it's about this family-owned bakery, and they're Italian. And it's all family. Everybody in there is family. Oh, that's my sister's husband, or that's my uncle's son. And it's all kept in the family, so everybody learns what's going on. So the little boy is learning about the family business. Oh, okay, this is how you bake a cake. This is how you deliver a cake. This is how you take an order. This is how you deal with problems. So you learn a skill through your family, and then one day he's going to take it over, or guess what? He's going to start his own bakery. Okay, so I understand that a lot of black men and black women are robbed of that experience. Okay, but to be real with you, with that being the case, we can't sit here and beg and plead for new jobs. Like I said before, the government can say, yo, I'm opening up a whole bunch of new jobs for blue-collar workers. Okay, people who don't necessarily have a whole bunch of academic education, people who are more so good with their hands. But guess what? We're still not going to get those jobs. We're not. Like I said before, different states are getting funding. They have funds that states can get when they're trying to rebuild their infrastructure. So they're trying to rebuild their bridges, their roads, their sewer systems, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so the government is saying, to create jobs, we're going to give you money so you can go out and hire people. And black people will be the first one to talk about, yo, man, we're not being hired, we're not being hired. What do? Forget the whole piece of paper. What can you actually do? I don't care if you have some piece of paper that says you can use a hammer or a jackhammer. Here's an actual jackhammer. What can you do with this? The sad thing is, you have a lot of Mexican immigrants in California who clean up because they can do construction and that home improvement stuff. That whole tile, I'll put in a toilet for you, and they can do it really well. So they don't have any sort of degree, they don't have any sort of legal business, but best believe when my family needs something done, it's Jose who's putting in our tile, and he does a damn good job at it too. And we best believe we refer him. I'll never forget, we had one guy who did some brickwork for us, and the job was so much on point. All the neighbors was like, yo, can I get the number to this guy? Can I get the number? Dude didn't even have a cell phone. But he was still working. Still working. Why? Because he had a skill. He knew what he was doing. But you don't see too many black people there. So at the end of the day, for the people who want to jump up and say the government needs to do X, Y, and Z, don't ask for jobs that you can't get. Don't ask for jobs that you're not going to even get hired onto because you don't have the skill. Y'all need to focus more so on job training. That needs to be the big thing. Job training, professionalism. from an early age. Okay? That's the key. Job training. If it was up to me, I would take a whole bunch of these black males in these inner city schools, take them out of the schools, period, and put them in a job training program where they're learning an actual skill, a trade that they can go out and get work with, because the other groups, they learn it from their parents. Okay? It's as simple as that. So, Jose, who's a mechanic, guess what? He knows about cars because his dad works at an auto body spot. And in the summertime, he works with his father. Or Junior knows about landscaping because his dad's a landscaper. So we need job training. That's what you need to lobby for. Don't sit here and bitch and complain about not having a job and the government needs to, make more jobs, and you can't even get hired to those jobs because you don't have the skill. Forget racism. Forget the whole idea of trying to hold black people down. You just can't get it done. I'm not going to hire you just because you're black, but you can't swing a hammer. So y'all take it easy. God bless.